Hey folks, this is Jess from Cook Smarts, and today I want to talk to you about how to season meat to ensure that it tastes as flavorful as possible, regardless of whatever dish you're making. One of the things that I got to do as a child, helping my parents, my grandmother in the kitchen, was to tenderize and season whatever protein we were making, whether it was steak or chicken or ground meat of some sort. This was my job, so this is a great job for a child. So what I do now as an adult is when I bring my meat home from the market, I season it right away. I want to give it as much time as possible to get a lot of flavor. So what I do is this here are bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs. So today I've got all the chicken laid out like so. I've got some kosher salt here. This you can kind of just eyeball. What you'll do is just sprinkle liberally with some kosher salt. The reason I use kosher salt is I really like the texture and the taste. You don't really want to use table salt if possible in any of your cooking because it has a little bit of this aftertaste. It's a little bit metallic. So I've sprinkled the salt. Now I'm going to go ahead and ground some pepper onto the chicken. Some chefs will say don't use garlic powder, but I grew up in a household that used garlic powder, so I'm okay with it. So I'm just going to lightly sprinkle a little bit on. A little goes a long way. Okay, so I've got that, and now you've got the seasoning on your protein. So you would do this for a steak, you would do this for a pork tenderloin, a pork chop. It doesn't really matter what meat. Start with kosher salt, black pepper, garlic powder if you want, a little bit of sugar if you want. And now we're going to tenderize it. This is not the same kind of tenderizing that you might see in American homes where they put the meat between saran wrap and pound it with like a hammer or a tenderizer. What I'm going to do is actually create some pores in the meat so that there's some pores for a lot of the seasoning to seep through and get inside of our proteins. So I just take a normal fork and I just kind of poke at the meat. I do this with all of my clients whenever we're making anything with meat, and it's one of the first things I teach them is like, this is how you're going to ensure that the chicken we're going to make or the pork we're going to make is going to taste really, really flavorful. Okay, so you just want to give it a couple stabs. So this is perfect for a child to do, right? They could sprinkle the salt on, they could sprinkle, turn the ground pepper, sprinkle the garlic powder, and then take a fork. If they're working with chicken, you just want to make sure that they, wash their hands before and after, and you keep a nice sanitized workspace. Okay, so that's all done. What I would do now is if I wasn't going to make this in the next day or two, I would put it into an airtight ziploc bag and freeze it. But if I was going to make it in the next day or two, I would just seal this up nicely and put it in the fridge. And ideally you can leave it for overnight so it has some time to marinate and get all those seasonings in there. So what we'll do is tomorrow we're going to go ahead and turn these seasoned chicken thighs into a really rich yellow curry with carrots and turnips. So if you just take a couple minutes when you come home from the market and do all the seasoning in one big batch, you'll never have to eat another bite of flavorless protein ever again, I promise you. All right, thanks for joining us in the kitchen. We're always happy to help you live happier, simpler, and smarter in the kitchen.